Thanks for joining us today. This is Point of View, and today we're going to be talking about Lake Highlands High School valedictorian Paxton Smith. So stay tuned. We're going to play the video. We're going to talk through everything that happened, but she gave her valedictorian speech. She ditched the pre-approved speech last week, and instead she went ahead and read a new speech that hadn't been approved by the staff or anything of the school, but was cheered and applauded, and it was a political statement against the new Texas heartbeat abortion law that prevents any abortions after 6 weeks once the heartbeat is detected, which seems to make just common sense. If it's a biological human being with a heartbeat who's alive, you don't kill it. I mean, that seems pretty normal. But she was lauded and praised, and we're going to play her video, let her be heard, and then tell you why she's wrong. This is the show where we are unashamed to look at political issues and cultural issues, whatever is going on in the world today, from a biblical point of view. Now, we do that because the Bible is true. We know that because Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead. Over 500 people are documented to have seen Jesus alive after he died, all at one time. So this is historical, documented evidence that Jesus really did die and rise from the dead. And if he really did rise from the dead, then he really is God, and he really did all the things that he said he did, and he really, the Bible really is true. And therefore, if the Bible is true, then we can trust it to be right about issues. So if we want to be right about issues, we have to be biblical about them. This one really isn't hard. So a lot of the issues we like to tackle here are hard issues like, I'm not sure if this is biblical or not. This issue is really not hard. Abortion is murder biologically. You really don't need to know the scriptures on this to know that it's murder, because it's a biological fact that these human beings in the womb are just that. They're humans. They're alive. Their lives have value, and the fact that I have to say that about a baby human being is insane. That I have to say that child has value, but there is literally no debate in the biological community over when life begins for the human being. It is at conception, and if you want to give that all the way until the heartbeat starts, I suppose you could try to say that, but biologically it's far before the heartbeat, 6 weeks before the heartbeat, at conception. And so what Texas is doing here makes a lot of sense. I'm going to play you the video, and then we'll walk through piece by piece and dissect it, show you where the argument is flawed, and show you how to be biblical on this issue. Here we go. This is Paxton Smith's valedictorian speech.
As we leave high school, we need to make our voices heard. Today, I was going to talk about TV and media and content because it's something that's very important to me. However, under light of recent events, it feels wrong to talk about anything but what is currently affecting me and millions of other women in the state. Recently, the heartbeat bill was passed in Texas. Starting in September, there will be a ban on abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, regardless of whether the pregnancy was a result of rape or incest. 6 weeks. That's all women get. And so before they realize, most of them don't realize that they're pregnant by 6 weeks. So before they have a chance to decide if they are emotionally, physically, and financially stable enough to carry out a full-term pregnancy, before they have the chance to decide if they can take on the responsibility of bringing another human being into the world, that decision is made for them by a stranger. A decision that will affect the rest of their lives is made by a stranger. I have dreams and hopes and ambitions. Every girl graduating today does. And we have spent our entire lives working towards our future. And without our input and without our consent, our control over that future has been stripped away from us. I am terrified that if my contraceptives fail, I am terrified that if I am raped, then my hopes and aspirations and dreams and efforts for my future will no longer matter. I hope that you can feel how gut-wrenching that is. I hope you can feel how dehumanizing it is to have the autonomy over your own body taken away from you. And I'm talking about this today, on a day as important as this, on a day honoring 12 years of hard academic work, on a day where we are all gathered together, on a day where you are most inclined to listen to a voice like mine, a woman's voice, to tell you that this is a problem, and it's a problem that cannot wait. And I cannot give up this platform to promote complacency and peace when there is a war on my body and a war on my rights, a war on the rights of your mothers, a war on the rights of your sisters, a war on the rights of your daughters. We cannot stay silent. Thank you.
All right, I wanted to play the whole thing so that you could really hear her out, because Paxton, if you're watching this, I don't mean to mischaracterize you, and I don't mean to, without cause, bring insult or add injury. I know you've gotten a lot of publicity over this, and I know you've gotten a lot of people who've just been very rude to you. I don't want to be rude. I want to be kind. I want to be loving in the spirit of love in Jesus Christ. But this is completely faulty logic, just bad logic from the beginning. And so there's a lot to unpack here, and we're going to do the best we can in the 28 and a half minutes we have for the show today to unpack this. By the way, guys, real quick, got to put this in. Little word for our sponsors. We have the White Mountain Munchies. Guys, these are awesome snack food. It's trail mix, but it's healthy trail mix. A lot of people like to eat healthy, but they want snack food while they're out, whatever they're doing, driving, traveling, hiking, whatever. White Mountain Munchies, you can go to whitemountainmunchies.com. It's non-GMO, it's gluten-free. They taste amazing, and they're really not expensive. Plus, you can use the promo code RAM at checkout, RAM at checkout, and you will get a discount off of the already low prices that they have, and also help support shows like Point of View and other shows on the Right America Media Network. That's RAM is the promo code, and you can go to whitemountainmunchies.com. Also, don't forget to check out mypillow.com, and you can get a discount on all of their things, especially the pillows are especially discounted right now when you use the promo code RAM at checkout, and you really help give a lot of credibility to shows like this and the Right America Media Network, and help us really grow. So appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Now let's break this down, and we're not going to just say she's wrong. We're going to break down why we think she's wrong and explain it all. So here's the video again from the top, and we'll stop it as needed.
As we leave high school, we need to make our voices heard. Today, I was going to talk about TV and media and content because it's something that's very important to me. However, under light of recent...
By the way, that would have been a great idea, Paxton. Man, TV and media and the content on there. You know what's on TV and media these days? I mean, it's like constant sexualization of the culture. And boy, you want to stop unwanted pregnancies, then we need to stop the rampant sexualization of this culture. I mean, that's how you stop unwanted pregnancies. So yeah, that would have been a much better use of, even on this topic, it would have helped out with this topic that you're concerned about, Paxton, if you had talked about news and media and the things that are pushed on young people in society today. Absolutely, that would have been a much better thing for you to talk about. I feel that you made a very poor decision changing your speech.
Events, it feels wrong to talk about anything but what is currently affecting me.
Yeah, you could have talked about it from the other perspective, but go on.
And millions of other women in the state. Recently, the heartbeat bill was passed in Texas. Starting in September, there will be a ban on abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy. regardless of whether the pregnancy was a result of rape or incest.
Oh, oh, oh. Wait just a second. Okay, so you're trying to tell me that it matters how this child was conceived, how this child came into existence. And if this child came into existence by means of something that is wrong, then that child should be murdered. I mean, hold up. Are we just ignoring the fact that this is biologically a human life, and you're even acknowledging it's got a heartbeat? Everything is there for human life. It is biologically consistent with a human life and therefore has value. Scripturally, it's consistent with a human life and therefore has value. I mean, Psalm 139, thou hast searched me and known me. It says my substance was not hid from thee, verse 15, when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. When I was, God already knew you when you were being formed in your mother's womb. My substance was not hid from thee when I was made in secret. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect. I wasn't all fully grown. But in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. This is how God sees children. And so biblically, biologically, this is a human life. You've already acknowledged that it has a human heartbeat. This is a human. So why are you making the point about whether it was this child is conceived by rape or incest? First of all, incest is not always incest. If it's not rape, is consensual. So as wrong as it is, it still doesn't, it's nothing like rape, right? I mean, if it's rape, then it's rape. If it's not rape, then who cares if it's incest? It's wrong, but it doesn't, why should you kill the child? And why should you kill a child just because the mother was raped? That's a terrible thing. But you don't kill children to fix rape. That's not how you fix rape. You don't fix rape. Rape is terrible.
6 weeks. That's all women get. And so before they realize, most of them don't realize that they're pregnant by 6 weeks. So before they have a chance to decide if they are emotionally, physically, and financially stable enough to carry out a full-term pregnancy, before they have the chance to decide if they can take on the responsibility of bringing another human being into the world, that decision is made for them by a stranger.
Hold on. So before they are able to make the decision as to whether they want a child, they're already going to have a child. Keep in mind that pregnancies from rape are extremely rare. Abortions from pregnancies from rape are an extreme minority. Less than 1% of abortions in America take place after rape. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. All right, we're going to deal with that question. But keep in mind that most of abortions, what's taking place here, is people choosing to engage in activity that causes children to come about. This is why you should not engage in that activity unless you are prepared to raise a child, which may result from that activity. Contraceptives do fail. And you say, well, they don't even have time to decide whether they're prepared for it. Well, they should have made that decision before they engaged in that activity. That argument only works for a woman who is not sexually active with another partner and is raped, which is so extremely rare, but I suppose it's possible. It's just that your argument here, Paxton, doesn't apply to almost every situation.
A decision that will affect the rest of their lives is made by a stranger. I have dreams and hopes and ambitions. Every girl graduating today does. And we have spent our entire lives working towards our future. And without our input and without our consent, our control over that future has been stripped away from us.
Well, hold on. Paxton, this is the terrible thing about rape. This is why rape is so bad. Because it does strip away everything you've built and everything you've done. This is what, by the way, I'm not trying to equate the two, but this is why all murder is wrong. This is why theft is wrong, because everything that someone built and earned and worked for is being taken away from them, whether it's their life in murder or their property in theft or whatever it is. That's why these things are bad. That's why they're wrong. Yes, rape does steal your life from you sometimes. It really does. It's a terrible thing. This is why I believe rapists ought to be killed. They ought to be given the death penalty. I'm all for that. But Paxton, here's the problem. You're saying that this means you should kill a child. Oh, the solution to rape is killing the child. No, the solution to rape is killing the rapists so that they aren't around anymore to continue this activity, and that others who think they might act that way will think twice. I mean, having real penalties for rapists. I mean, serious death penalty level penalties for rapists, I think is a much better solution than killing children. You know, they're not at fault. Yes, rape does do that. But if you're talking about, watch what she's going to say, because she's not just talking about rape. Her argument is only valid in rape, and it doesn't even make sense there because you're killing a child. But notice what she's about to say.
I am terrified that if my contraceptives fail,
I'm terrified that if my contraceptives fail. Are you? You know, there's a very simple solution. There is a contraceptive that is 100% accurate. 100%. Cannot fail. You abstain from that activity until you're ready to have a child. This is how God created the human body. You do get to decide when you start a family. I mean, this is not something outside of your control. And saying you can't kill your children once you've already created them does not remove from you the ability to choose when you create them. Right? This is nobody's removing any ability from you to create a child or to create a family, to start a family. What we're saying is that once you've started a family, you can't end it by murdering your children. I mean, that should be common sense. Here's what she's just said. I'm terrified that if my contraceptives fail, and then she goes on.
Terrified that if I am raped.
I'm terrified that if I'm raped. So that's her second argument. Now, that is something to be terrified about. It really is. But imagine how terrified it would be if one of those children that you're speaking about here, murdering Paxton, if she could have a voice, if she could have your platform. I'm terrified that if my mother chooses to murder me, I won't have a life. I won't ever be able to build that life that you get to build, Paxton. I will be snuffed out before I even get a fighting chance if my mother chooses that I'm not worth her time. Think about the voice that you're not giving to the unborn human beings who are genuinely living and have value just like any other human being.
Then my hopes and aspirations and dreams and efforts for my future will no longer matter.
So she says, if her contraceptives fail, if she's raped, then all of her hopes and aspirations will no longer matter. First of all, that's not true. That's not true. If you have a child, your hopes and aspirations can still matter. I have a wife. I have children. All of my hopes and aspirations are still going forward. You know, it's possible that children change plans and derail some of your plans, but they're wonderful things. Where did you get it in your head that children are some sort of a terror? that are awful and ruin your life. Children don't ruin your life. Ask your parents. Your parents won't tell you that having you ruined their life. They wouldn't tell you that. Paxton, I'm not sure where you got this idea that children are just the worst thing for you and will ruin your dreams in your life. But this is a lie from the pit of hell. And besides that, even if they do, you don't murder people because they make your life hard after you created those people. And just by accident, your contraceptive failed. You don't murder people even if they were created by an evil rapist person. You still don't murder the human beings that were created. That's not murdering human beings is not the answer, Paxton. And I understand how devastating and terrible rape is. But this is not the answer.
I hope that you can feel how gut-wrenching that is.
I can feel how gut-wrenching it is to think that you could possibly be raped at some time. My recommendation to you would be, first of all, don't rely on your contraceptive. If you really, really want to plan out when you have children, don't have intercourse until you're prepared for that. Don't participate in that activity. I beg you not to do so until you're married. This is why the Bible teaches that, or one of the reasons why the Bible teaches this. Secondly, if you're concerned about rape, I advise you to carry personal defense items. Carry a gun with you. I'm sorry, you asked for solutions. Killing the rapist is the better solution. Killing your child, not a good option.
I hope you can feel how dehumanizing it is to have the autonomy over your own body taken away from you.
Oh, it's dehumanizing to have the autonomy of your own body taken away from you. How dehumanizing is it for you to murder a child or to say that that child doesn't deserve to live because it was created in a way that was beyond its control, but that you say is inappropriate? Because it was created in a way in which it is not wanted, its value is gone. How dehumanizing is that? You are literally dehumanizing a baby human child and saying that those who are defending the human child are dehumanizing you. No, in your scenario, the worst of your scenarios, you're being dehumanized by a rapist who should be shot if you would carry some personal defense. And I mean, I'm not saying that it's your fault. I'm just saying you're dehumanized by an evil person. And in response, in your scenario, you want to be able to dehumanize the child that's carried within you. Who's dehumanizing who here? You're responding to the dehumanization that rape brings by dehumanizing children. None of it's right. None of it's okay. None of it. We don't dehumanize. We don't devalue human life.
And I'm talking about this today, on a day as important as this, on a day honoring 12 years of hard academic work, on a day where we are all gathered together, on a day where you are most inclined to listen to a voice like mine, a woman's voice, to tell you that this is a problem.
Boy, if only they would listen to the voices of those who have survived abortions. Those women's voices. How about the women's voices who are killed in abortions? I wonder what they would say. I wonder what they would say. I wonder what God will say when we stand before him one day and argue that it was okay because this person was raped and it's better for her life if we murder a child.
And it's a problem that cannot wait. And I cannot give up this platform to promote complacency and peace.
Complacency and peace? You mean to tell me that your platform can't be given up to give peace to the unborn? To be complacent about letting them live. You must fight to have the right to murder children. This is what your platform is for.
when there is a war on my body and a war on my rights.
Whose body has a war on it? How about the little girls who are murdered in their mother's womb? Don't you think there's a war against their body? Don't you think there's a war against their rights? I'd say so. But all you're worried about is your body and your rights, and what you mean by your rights. Paxton, please hear this with the love and compassion that I have for you and for the unborn children that you're advocating to be murdered. Please hear this from a place of compassion. Paxton, you're advocating for the murder of these children, taking away their rights, taking away their bodily autonomy. This is not okay.
A war on the rights of your mothers. A war on the rights of your sisters.
No. If anyone in that audience has mothers who want to commit, who don't want to have children and want to have an abortion, then they aren't alive. I mean, you're talking about mothers who have, if they had that right, all of these children would be dead.
A war on the rights of your daughters. We cannot stay silent. Thank you.
Now, Paxton is genuine. She's heartfelt. She means well. She feels that this is absolutely an essential point that she's making, and she feels like she's standing up for basic human rights. She does. And so I say this with love and compassion for her. I understand that she means well. But Paxton, you are the valedictorian of Lake Highlands High School. Please, valedictorian means you have some level of intelligence. Please consider the argument that you are making. Consider the other side of this argument is actually supported by biological facts as well as scriptural facts. And consider for a moment that you could possibly be wrong, and just weigh out both sides. I beg you, because what you're saying here is only a wonderful thing if you're right. But scientifically, spiritually, scripturally, every way you look at this, what you're saying is wrong. There is no logic behind it. And I implore you, Paxton, and anyone who thinks the way Paxton does, to reconsider with some critical thinking skills what you believe, because it's not good, it's not right, it's not holy. And that's going to do it for our show today. Guys, if you're watching, we pray in three things for you. Number one, that you will know and believe the gospel, repent and trust in Christ. Number two, that you'll be right about issues, you'll have to be biblical. And number three, that you'll tell your friends and family about Point of View. Let everyone know, and we'll see you next time on the next half hour of the show this week.